8 legs, 8 eyes. It's just like, ugh.
Oh,
Okay,
no.
so-
I love pineapples and cherry tomatoes. I think if you
okay.
don't have those two things, I am questioning you. Do you feel like, because you're studying hydrology, do you feel like there's a lack of awareness of hydrology as an undergrad major?
Yes, and as far as I'm aware, and any hydrology majors out there can correct me if I'm wrong, but there's only 2 people in my year.
Similarly, is there any other affiliations or organizations that advocate for hydrology students? Anything that you're aware of? Hey guys, welcome back to It's K to Be Karen Season 2, and it's me, Karen, and today we have another guest, and his name is Cole. And before I say any further, you know what? I'll let him introduce himself.
Yeah, so hi everyone, my name is Cole Roszell. I'm in my 4.5 kind of year of hydrology at the University of Saskatchewan.
Exciting, yeah. So before we even delve into any questions, we're going to do a rapid fire, so you get to learn a little bit more about Cole, and he gets to learn a little bit more about me. So let's get started. So I'm going to ask you 5 questions.
Okay.
You can ask me 5 after. Okay, so we'll not alternate. I'll ask you just 5 at once, and then you ask me 5. Okay.
Sure, sounds great.
Okay, here we go. First question: sunrise or sunset?
I like sunrise, but I'm kind of a little bit of a morning person.
Okay,
So, yeah.
sunrise. Okay. Second question: what's the biggest thing that you've been the most afraid of when you were a child?
Ooh, probably spiders. Yeah, not a
Spiders.
spider
Okay.
guy, not a fan.
Not.
Even today,
Yeah,
no.
I don't like insects either. I think that terrifies me.
8 legs, 8 eyes. It's just like, ugh.
Oh,
Okay,
no.
disgusting.
Third question. If you were to be a person for one day and live their life, who would that person be?
I gotta be a little bit diplomatic about this. Um, so yeah, I think the obvious answer is like a billionaire.
Fourth question. If you didn't study hydrology, what would your other undergrad major be?
Probably geology, or some other kind of earth science.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last question of the day of the rapid fire. If you were to visit one place, if you had like a lot of money, where would that be?
Santorini, Greece.
Okay.
Very interesting about that island in particular. It's theorized that that is, in fact, the island that the lost city of Atlantis is based on. Because if you look at the geological record, there was a volcano that destroyed most of that island just around the time that Plato would have lived.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's
Okay.
probably where he got the whole idea of the lost city from, because there was a very advanced city on that island.
Yeah, very exciting. Okay, I'll pass it to you to ask me 5 questions.
Okay, so my first one will be pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Yes, I'm always a
Yes.
pineapple on pizza. I love pineapples and cherry tomatoes. I think if you
Okay.
don't have those 2 things, I am questioning you.
Fair enough. Yeah. Second question, favorite season?
Oh, fall.
Fall.
Yes.
Me too.
Yeah, because I think it's nice because you get that chilly weather, and the wind as well. And I feel like I'm always contemplating between spring and fall. But with spring, it's kind of like it's very damp and it's very moist.
Yeah.
Whereas for fall, it's kind of just like windy and it just feels the vibe. So fall.
I have an allergy to like snow mold and stuff. So yeah, for that reason alone, I take fall as well. Question number 3. I guess 3 bucket list countries. Like, what are 3 countries that you want to visit in your lifetime?
Very good question. It will have to be Germany, Switzerland, and France, and they're kind of like in that triangle because the borders kind of touch on each other. And I think it'd be a really interesting place to visit because I think they have the most nice scenic landscape. Not to say that we don't have a nice landscape. I mean, I'm sure we do, but it's just nice to see like the Alps in Switzerland. I think it will be very pretty. So yeah, those 3.
Awesome. I guess question 4 be, I don't know, favorite beverage, favorite hot beverage.
Oh, chai latte.
Chai latte.
Yes,
favorite
always my go-to.
Cold beverage for question 5.
I love anything that has like cold sparkling water in it. So like in DQ, like they have these pineapple coolers.
Yeah, I used to work at Dairy Queen.
Oh, did you? Yeah. Did they have coolers at that time, like the sparkling stuff?
They think they just kind of started those when I was working there in high school. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's my go-to. Haven't had it for a very long time. Okay, now that we've done our rapid fire, we're going to go straight into our next segment, understanding your undergraduate program and really seeing how you've landed into it and some of the choices that you did to navigate through. So, because you study hydrology, maybe we'll
Yes.
start with that. If you want to tell the audience what that constitutes, I know what hydrology is, but maybe just for the audience to know what fields are involved in
Mhm.
hydrology and what areas are you the most passionate about in hydrology. So it's a very loaded question.
Okay.
So, two questions: the overall definition of hydrology, and what areas are you passionate about in hydrology?
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome. So I'll take a few minutes for this
yeah,
question, if that's
yeah,
all
yeah,
right. So,
yeah.
hydrology, in its most basic form, is the study of water and the hydrosphere. So anything that water touches and the intersection between water and any other of the Earth's spheres is where a hydrologist might work. So there
Mm-hmm,
are a lot of subfields. There's biohydrology, which is obviously the intersection of the biosphere and the hydrosphere. There's hydrogeology, which deals mostly with groundwater, which is kind of the field that I'm working in right now. But the fields, or two fields that I'm most interested in, would be fluvial geomorphology, which is how rivers impact lands, and then also cryosphere studies. So that would be Arctic, Antarctic, permafrost, and northern studies.
you should ask, because you're studying hydrology, but what made you get into hydrology in the first place? Was there like a single reason, or were there several driving factors? Because how I think of it is, I always feel like there's always multiple small little reasons that, triggers a particular decision in a human mind. So
Mhm.
for you, when you took hydrology, was there a specific reason, or were there several driving forces that made you or helped you decide to take hydrology?
Okay, so I guess I'll give you guys a little bit of my life story here.
Yeah.
So my mom worked in watershed, various watershed agencies when I was a kid. I always found it like somewhat interesting, but like kind of just in the back of my mind, like not something I paid specific attention to.
Mm,
When I went to university, I did my first year in engineering because all of my high school teachers in my small town were like, "Oh man, you're good at math. You can do calculus. You did like the AP calculus, so you should go and be an engineer."
yeah.
I didn't really know honestly what that meant at that time,
Yeah.
so I took it, hated it, sucked. Um, so I switched out and then I did kind of a half semester of general arts and science, just taking classes. I knew I liked earth science and
Mm,
geology, so I tried to load up on those. And I came across a class.
mm,
It was a Geography 225 for those
mm.
of you who
Okay.
are interested in upcoming registration. It's Geography 225
Mm-hmm.
Introduction to Hydrology. And I was like, well, that sounds interesting. And I've got some prior knowledge just like from like my mom's work in the past and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll take that class. And it was with Professor Dirk de Boer, who's now retired.
Mm-hmm.
But he was phenomenal. I loved the class,
Mm-hmm.
and basically, as soon as I got my midterm grades back for that class, I did very well in the midterm.
Yay.
I declared my major as hydrology.
Okay, sweet. Yeah. And because you said your mom like worked for river systems, is that what you said?
She works for like a watershed association. So there's like
Okay.
regional kind of watershed associations or agencies across the province, or at
Mm.
least there used to be. They kind of are amalgamated now a little
Okay.
bit through
Okay.
the Saskatchewan Association of Watersheds.
Okay.
Um, but basically, what a watershed is a drainage basin, like a
Mm.
regional scale drainage basin,
Mm.
where all the water flows into a single body or into a single river
Mm.
onto a larger kind of regional scale. Like most stuff here either ends up in Hudson Bay, or if you go further south, it ends up in the Mississippi,
Mm-hmm.
which goes to the Gulf of
Mm-hmm.
Mexico eventually.
Yep.
But it's basically just topographic and groundwater divisions
Mm.
um, that we can say that all the water, all the rain, precipitation that ends up here
Mm-hmm.
goes to here,
Mm-hmm.
so into a certain river or lake.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and many of these, for in the name of conservation, have like an agency associated to either help raise awareness or do kind of community outreach about
Mm-hmm.
water quality and
Mm-hmm.
also water scarcity and water security issues.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like, because you're studying hydrology, do you feel like there's a lack of awareness of hydrology as an undergrad major?
Yes.
And if you feel so, like, why do you think that's the reason? Do you think it's just something that's not spoken about enough? Because, normally when we think about engineering, like a lot of, there's a lot of people around us, they're always like, well, you should go to engineering, you can do
Mhm.
biomedical sciences. But do you feel like there's not a lot of vocalization for hydrology? And why do you think that is?
Yeah, there really isn't a lot of kind of outreach. It's a very small program, as far as I'm aware, and any hydrology majors out there can correct me if I'm wrong. But there's only two people in my year,
Wow.
myself and another fellow named John. Shout out John. But the Department of Geography and Planning is very small,
Mm,
and its other programs aren't particularly related to
Mm.
hydrology. So hydrology, we just had our academic program review, and there was a professor there who called it a boutique degree, and to an
Yeah.
extent, I would kind of agree with that, where it is very specific. It's the only hydrology undergraduate program in Canada.
Mm.
Usually, you have to go and take graduate studies
Mm.
in order to specialize in hydrology from there. But um,
So we're the only university who does hydrology as an undergrad major, like for.
currently,
Oh,
yeah.
really? I didn't know that.
I,
Okay.
I think maybe UVic or UBC might be considering
Okay.
starting a program because water issues are going to become very prevalent over the next 20 to 30 years,
Mm-hmm.
particularly related to water security. But USask has some very good graduate studies in water security. We have the
Mm-hmm.
Global Institute of Water Security
Mm-hmm.
based on USask campus,
Mm-hmm.
which is phenomenal and a great facility with very great researchers and educators there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but this is kind of not necessarily like a feeder program to that
Mm-hmm.
because you get a professional designation the same as an engineer would. It's
Oh, okay.
through APEGS. It's
Okay.
the professional geologist designation. And unlike the geology program
Mm-hmm.
at USask, if you just take hydrology, you will automatically meet the requirements. Whereas in
Oh,
geology, you have to be careful what classes you take
okay.
because you may or may not meet the requirements to
Okay.
achieve a professional geologist designation.
Yeah.
Hydrology just gets you there,
Oh,
which
wow.
is most people
Okay.
don't know that.
Okay, well, I certainly didn't know that, so I think that'd be very helpful for people to know. Yeah.
Mhm.
So with hydrology, is that like an amalgamation of like geography, geology, math, and all those kind of classes, or does it include other classes that I'm not aware of?
It includes some classes. There's actually a surprising amount of chemistry,
Oh,
but
okay.
you can kind of tailor it
Okay.
a little bit.
Okay.
Like even though you do have a very limited selection
Mm,
of electives, you
mm.
can kind of focus yourself. You can take biologies. You can go up
Okay.
to foreign level biologies and take. I think it's biology 412, which is limnology, which
Mm,
is kind of you're studying lake bed organisms and benthic
yeah.
organisms, which is a super interesting research field. Or
Mm-hmm.
you can go completely the other way
Mm-hmm.
and study geomorphology and cryospheric studies, which is kind of what I've
That's what
done.
you've pivoted to, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've taken Northern Studies, Geography 351
Mm-hmm.
with Alec Aitken, and 335, which is Glacial Geomorphology, is actually a degree requirement
Mm-hmm.
that you have to meet. So,
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like because we as a world, we're facing the issue of climate change and climate
yeah.
crisis. I do think hydrology, just as like a knowledge base or like an undergrad program, would be super helpful for anybody, really. Like if you're looking at, if you're unsure about, certain life choices, I think that's a really nice
Mhm.
place to pivot to. Do you feel like in your perspective, and maybe, you might not have that much exposure, but just from the perspective that you're currently sitting in with the amount of experience that you have, what do you think that the university or what do you think organizations could do to further promote hydrology and make sure that, people are more aware of it?
Mhm. I think that on a university level, to
Mm-hmm.
promote hydrology, you could really kind of have that selling point where, hey, we are the only undergraduate university for water, like for hydrology. We are the number one university, or at least I think in 2024, 2025, this may have changed.
Mm-hmm.
So, grain of salt here, but we were the number one in North America for water resources science,
Mm-hmm.
just overall,
Right.
including graduate studies, undergraduate studies. We're the university,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I think that there isn't a lot of coverage of that because USask is a very good university, but we're not particularly number one
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something we're number one in. So I think that on the university level,
Mm-hmm.
if there's any administrators watching this,
Mm-hmm.
this is a real big selling point. You could bring in lots of students from across Canada, internationally as well,
Mm-hmm.
and in the province, because I feel like this is fairly common knowledge, but with the way that climate change is going and the way that climate patterns are going in Saskatchewan,
Mm-hmm.
water security in Saskatchewan is going to be an issue
Yeah.
ongoing. We already know that we're going to be experiencing drought again this year,
Mm-hmm.
as we have for the past few years. Um, and the glaciers that feed the Saskatchewan River, there isn't a lot left of them. So then we rely on annual snowfall
Mm-hmm.
in the Rockies, which has also gone down
Mm-hmm.
again due to climate change. So if we think about it, we've already got other cities in Alberta that are drawing
Yeah.
on the river,
Mm-hmm.
and then we've got like North Battleford and everything, and they're all drawing. And then by the time it gets to Saskatoon,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we we don't have the prairie lily anymore because we
Mm-hmm.
can't. The river's not high enough.
Yeah.
So that'll be an ongoing thing.
Out of curiosity, though, so We have a lot of organizations that support different things and that
Mm,
help to vocalize these things. So, for example, when we talk about women in mining, we have the Win-Win.
mhm.
They're an organization that advocate for women in mining. Similarly, is there any other affiliations or organizations that advocate for hydrology students? Anything that you're aware of, or any
Uh,
clubs that you're part of that advocate for these things?
since the program's so small, there
Hmm.
isn't currently a club. I did try and start a club a few
Hmm.
years back, but they're unfortunately they're just the program was too small. There wasn't enough
Mm,
interest to keep going. We
yeah.
couldn't maintain registration with the USSU because our numbers just weren't there.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
So this is something definitely in the future, if there's more students and if there's more demand in this program, this is something that people, should consider creating a club itself at
yeah,
USask. Yeah.
if for the time being, since we're related to geology, I
Yeah.
would recommend the Organic to people. They're an
Mm-hmm.
excellent resource for
Mm-hmm.
any kind of uh, geology classes that you might be having trouble with, and they're also a very good just
Yeah.
social club. They're
Yeah.
one of the best social clubs I think on
Oh, that's
campus.
sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they have the best lounge on campus, hands down. It's a
Hands down,
really
guys.
large building or a really large room in the second floor geology.
Yeah.
Go up, they got a ton of couches. They got like I don't think they have a pool table anymore, but they got like foosball tables and stuff.
Oh.
I think they still got a TV in there.
And you're saying geology? Is it
Yeah,
like next to the, where Tim Hortons and the biology building
yeah,
entrances? Is it close by there?
it's close by there. So if you just walk, if you're
Oh.
walking like in that kind of ramp that goes up
Yeah.
like towards the Tims,
Yeah.
you just take a left,
Okay.
like past the T-Rex,
Okay.
and it's just at the end of the hall.
Oh, I was not aware of that. Okay, that's good to know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very good society, and also like it's really convenient because if you're sitting in there studying,
Hmm.
you can just go to Tim's and grab coffee.
Yeah, okay,
It's
that's
awesome.
nice. Yeah, and are there doors always open? Like open
Uh,
doors?
as long as somebody's in there, yeah, as
Okay.
long as an executive member's in there, their
Okay.
doors are open. Since I've been on a work term, like if the
Hmm.
executive has changed, that may have changed, but
Hmm.
the policy was when I was on
Okay.
campus till you know
Yeah.
if somebody had keys, then the door would be open.
Okay, very cool. Yeah. And then you as a student, because you've taken a lot of classes, do you have a favorite class that you really want students to know about?
Ooh,
Yeah.
uh,
It could be multiple.
okay,
Yes.
I've got a few.
Okay.
So number one, I would say is probably Northern Environments. That's Geography 351, usually taught by Alec Eichen, who may be retiring, but I think he'll teach it again next year.
Okay.
Seems to be one of his favorite classes.
Okay.
There's also Geography 380, which I have not unfortunately been able to take due
Mm-hmm.
to time conflicts, but that is again an Alec Eichen class. That's the geography of the circumpolar north. I
Mm-hmm.
think the only prerequisites for those classes are Geography 120, which is something that I think a lot of students take.
Yeah.
Like there's hundreds of students that take that class. So if you are a student out there and you're looking for a very interesting class that is actually going to teach you a lot of interesting things about the subject,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to have fun, and you're like, it's not marked particularly difficult as well. I know that's a consideration for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's just one of the most fun classes that I've ever taken. I've never dreaded going to this class. I think
Mm-hmm.
a lot of students can kind of relate to me when I say that, like, oh man, like I've got X class on Thursday. I really don't want to go. Like
Mm-hmm.
this sucks. I hate going to it. Never felt that way about
Okay.
either, like about any of Alex's classes. So
That's a good thing to hear because I feel like a lot of students, they get like burned out at a certain point of time.
yeah,
And the fact that you didn't feel that way, that says a lot about the class.
yeah, it really helped me get up and actually go to classes in that kind of like midterm slump, like right after midterms, but before finals pick up. I find that's kind of the most challenging time, at least for
Mm-hmm.
me, and I think attendance rates would tend to show that as well.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, no, it really gets you up in the morning. So
Yeah. Out of curiosity, undergrad students, who are looking for an internship, not necessarily in the hydrology field or like in a corporate setting, but just looking for an internship, whether that be 12, 4 months, or 16 months, what advice would you give them?
don't use AI to make your resume.
Okay.
100%. They'll garbage it just like immediately. Like
Mm-hmm.
don't even use it to touch it up.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's better that there is like maybe like a typo or two
Mm-hmm.
than to like put AI through it.
Mm-hmm.
Because like contrary to I think what a lot of people believe, companies are really heavily investing in AI,
Mm-hmm.
especially the HR department.
Mm-hmm.
So just please, I beg of you, do not use AI in your resume
Yeah.
or cover letter,
Mm-hmm.
even to touch it up.
Mm-hmm.
Just do it by hand. I know it's tedious. You have to write like a cover letter for like every role, individualized cover letter for
Yeah.
every role, even if it's the same company.
Mm-hmm.
Individualize it for every role. Express genuinely like why you want to be there and just be honest. Like don't,
Mm-hmm.
because if you lie in it, not only is it going to be obvious half the time, but like when they
Mm.
go to actually interview you, they're probably going to be able to tell.
Mm.
Um, because like there are people then this is their job, right,
Mm-hmm.
to like weed out people who are not being like 100% honest on their resume, on their cover letter.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say, yeah, just have a really strong resume and cover letter. Don't use AI to touch it up. And then when you interview, just be candid, be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Like ask questions, like make it a conversation, kind of like the conversation that we're having right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it shouldn't be like, oh
Like it
yes
shouldn't be
sir
robotic
ma'am, I
and
did
yeah.
this and
Mm-hmm.
list all your achievements. That doesn't look good,
Yeah, I
right?
think I side with you on that. I think a lot of people these days we've been using, the tools of AI, and while it's great, I think it's very effective. It's very efficient. I think it does strip off a sense of raw and authenticness of a person. So I do side with you on that, and I think there's only so much we can do to tell people, but it really boils down to
Yeah.
people's experiences. I also feel.
Mm-hmm.
Moving a little bit to your military side. Curious, you've probably done the young cadet program. What did that entail, and was there a particular reason why you've done it, and what did that teach you?
Hey, so when I was 12, I was part of, or 12 to 18, I was part of the Air Cadet program through Cadets Canada, which is administered through DND, although it's not actually part of the military, that
Mhm.
program. But basically, the aims of the program were community involvement, physical fitness, and familiarization with the Canadian Armed Forces. Were kind of like some of their three main tenets.
Mhm.
I got to do some very very cool stuff. I spent basically every summer on an airbase. I went to camps basically from when I was 12 to when I was 16. 17 and 18 was kind of start of COVID times. I did like online staffing, so
Mhm.
I provided learning resources basically for a summer
Mhm.
to teach younger cadets about aviation.
Mhm.
Um, but I did all sorts of cool stuff. I got to do like a spacewalk simulator thing,
Oh,
like
okay.
in a really deep diving pool that was in conjunction with the Canadian Space
And this was
Agency.
in Saskatchewan, or
No, this is in Quebec.
okay.
So if you're part of the cadet program, if they're for the young viewers out there,
Mhm.
you can have the opportunity to go across Canada. The program has changed a lot since I was in,
Okay.
mostly due to funding reasons,
Mhm.
unfortunately.
Mhm.
Um, but it used to be the case where like I never spent a summer in Saskatchewan
Oh
because there actually
wow.
wasn't any infrastructure for cadets here. So I went
Right.
to, I think it was Cold Lake, Alberta, at the airbase there, and
Mhm.
then Gimli, Manitoba when
Mhm.
I was 13.
Mhm.
When I was 14, it was Comox, British Columbia, at the airbase there.
Mhm.
Um, then it was Saint Jean sur Richelieu, at it was actually at a CEGEP, but the reason they picked that is because it was close enough to the Canadian Space Agency headquarters.
Mm.
So we got to do some stuff with them and some programming through them, which was super awesome. And then after that, I kind of moved into the staffing role. COVID, everything moved online,
Mhm.
and that's kind of after that program changed. But then I aged out of it. I did a year of university, and I said, hey, I kind of missed some of this stuff,
Mhm.
so I'm going to go and join the actual military, join the military for real.
Mhm.
So I went and joined the HMCS Unicorn in Saskatoon.
Mhm.
Um, which was an interesting experience. I did that for 2 years. I did my BMOQ, that's basic military officer qualification.
And were you studying at the same time while you were at the military here at Saskatoon?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Lots of reservists are university students. I would
Oh, okay.
actually say most
Okay.
reservists are university students
Okay.
from in my experience.
Okay.
Um, and the commitment to that is basically if you're an officer, it's kind of 2 nights a week and then 2 weekends a month. But if you are an NCM, the minimum requirement is like 1 weeknight a week and then 1 weekend per month.
Mhm.
Um, and then the caveat to that
Mhm.
is that you have to give up your summers.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have a set amount of time. I believe it's 4 years to get something called the OFP, the
Okay.
operationally functional point,
Okay.
which for a naval warfare officer, which was my trade,
Mhm.
that can take upwards of 6 years. So
Mm.
you had to constantly be filling out like waivers in order to like keep going.
Yeah.
And I also didn't love what I was seeing in the trade, and
Mhm.
I didn't. There were certain parts about my home unit that I didn't love, but I won't get into that.
Mhm.
Um, there are a lot of good people at the unit though, so like shout out if there's anybody from Unicorn watching. You guys are awesome. But yeah, when I got the role of Cameco, I was already kind of on the fence about
Mm.
hopping out because I was like, yeah, I'm in a place in my personal life where I don't really want to be in the military long term. So I processed my release.
Much into public speaking.
Yes.
And I know that this is a great platform, as a podcast. Question for you would be, when you're done with your undergrad program, what might be those two messages? And this could be related to your undergrad program, personal life, whatever that might be. What are those two messages that maybe you want to convey to people and you want to use this platform to convey it to people? And it could be anything.
Well, I think I'm going to use one of those messages to kind of support my Department of Geography and Planning. A lot of great profs there. Most people don't know that they exist at the university. Feel really should, because there are some very, very good programs. 2 of the 3 programs we have are accredited. One being hydrology, my program, which you get a PGO. The other being regional urban planning, which you also get accreditation for that, which you usually need a master's degree for in urban planning. It's one of the only undergraduate programs that is accredited. So those 2 programs alone, like, I think should make geography and planning one of the most popular departments on campus, but right now we're not. And then the other program is environment and society, which, although not accredited, is an excellent program for anybody who's interested in the intersection of like the earth sciences and environmental sciences with the social sciences. I think there's a lot of people that are interested in that, but most people don't know that that degree exists.
You have a second message.
Oh yes, second message. Got lost in the sauce on the first message there. Second message, I would say, would be more so kind of related to like undergraduate experience as a whole, and that is, pick something that you like doing. Don't go into something just for the money or because you think it'll be easy, or like, take some time, figure out what it is that you actually want to be doing. And it doesn't have to be like super specific, like, oh, I want to go and do like this specific thing at this specific company. It's like, okay, like, geology. You can specialize from that into a ton of different places. But like, do you like rocks? If you like rocks, maybe geology's for you. Or like, if you really, really like coding and you're a big coding person, then maybe computer science is for you. But just get that general idea. Don't just enroll in something because you think it's gonna be easy. You won't. It's important to challenge yourself. I guess overall, to summarize, challenge yourself, because through challenge, you move ahead.
I think I very much resonate with that. I was talking to my mom actually last week, and she brought this up, and she said, you never pick the easy wrong over something that's undeniably right. And I think that's something that really like sticked with me. I think a lot of us, we kind of just follow the lead of people, and we don't cultivate what we're really passionate about. So it's very important that you listen to your heart and listen to what you really want to do. So I really resonate with that. Yeah. Now, talking a little bit about your future, do you see a graduate program after your undergrad, or do you see more of like an industry experience right after your undergraduate program?
So this is something I'm kind of on the fence about a little bit. So I am enrolled in the honors program now, which is excellent, and I'm looking forward to starting my thesis. I'll be supervised by Matt Lindsay in the Department of Geological Sciences, as well as Dr. Roszell, who just started with the Department of Geography and Planning. So super excited to have the experience of not one, but 2 professors helping to guide me through that. Then after that, it's kind of a toss-up, and it depends a little bit on the global situation, to be perfectly honest with you. Because if there is a lot of drive still for and need for people to be taking graduate programs, I think I definitely will. Probably at USask as well, since we have so many strong professors within the department, and even outside of the department, there are. I was looking at potentially a master's in atmospheric sciences. That's something that a hydrology major could feasibly go into, depending on the research area. So maybe that, because the program is accredited, but you don't just automatically get a PGO when you're done.
You need like practical work experience.
Yes, 4 years worth, which I get to count 1 year from my my current work experience, which is great. So I need 3 years after, and then I take an ethics exam after filling out my logbook. So any engineers in the audience will be very familiar with this. It's the same process, just slightly different hard requirements in terms of like what classes you need and what counts for hours, right? So
very exciting stuff. As we're almost nearing the end, I do want to ask, if you wanted to write a letter to your past self or convey something to your past self, what would you tell your past self?
Don't go into engineering. Yeah, I don't know. I probably that. I'd probably say don't go into engineering and like just keep challenging yourself. Don't take the easy route because like every time that I have taken the easy route, which has been more than I would have liked to admit, it's just not come up with the results that I want.
Right.
I only get the results that I want when I challenge myself. Mm-hmm. So that'd also be my recommendation to everyone out there. Again, challenge yourself. Right. And for past me, don't go into engineering.
I do think if you challenge yourself, like you push yourself even more and you realize that you can do actually much more than what you're capable of. So I do side with you on that. Yeah, 100%. Okay, as we're nearing the end, I will say thank you so much, Cole, for making time to be here. I think I've learned so much about hydrology and I've learned so much more about you. There's a lot of things that, I was not aware of. So really, when we're ending this podcast here, I'm taking a lot of learnings from you. So I'm really grateful for you to saying yes to this podcast. And as a token of appreciation, actually, we have six sponsors in our podcast, but these are 2 gift cards for you.
Oh,
this
wonderful.
Is from Hedgehog Bakery.
Thank you.
And this is from Westgate Books. So
thank you so much.
Yeah, 100%. So Hedgehog Bakery, they kind of do a lot of bakery goods, really. So they have like cinnamon rolls, cardamom rolls, lots of different tiny little cakes. Great place. They're on 21st Street West. And Westgate Books is literally on 8th Street almost. They're kind of on Louis Avenue, but like next to Save on Foods on 8th Street.
I'm a big Westgate fan. So.
Actually,
yeah.
They have a little cat too, that periodically it's there.
Yeah, I think I've seen the cat there a couple times. I can't remember its name, but
I don't know its name.
Yeah, shout out to the cat at
Westgate. Are you a cat person, by the way?
I am. My partner has 2 cats.
Really? Very
Libby
cute.
and Shiro.
Libby and Shiro. And how old are your cats?
I think they're like not technically my cats, they're my partner's cats. So I think like 6 and 7, roughly. They're
6
like
and 7 years. Oh, years. Yeah. Okay. Very exciting stuff. Yeah. Shout out to the cats.
Yeah.
Okay, before we end here today, do you have any last words for the audience? Anything that you want to convey and, feel completely unrestrained and, feel free to share whatever you feel like sharing.
Oh, man. Now I feel like telling a joke, but
sure, do it.
I've got nothing. So I'm just going to say another word to sponsors. Watch out Hedgehog Bakery because I'm coming for the cardamom rolls.
Yes.
Those sound delicious.
Yes, it really is. It's very delicious. I love them. Okay, with that being said, I'm going to say, again, thank you so much, Cole, for making time.
Thanks for having me on
a Saturday. This really means a lot. I'm also going to say if you guys have any comments, questions that you want to ask Cole, you can leave it in the comment section below. We do promote this on YouTube and Spotify. So, there's lots of platforms where you can ask questions. We also promote it on Instagram and LinkedIn. So that's another place where you can ask questions. I will leave Cole's LinkedIn, if that's okay, in the description.
Sure, 100%.
So people can ask him questions, personally, if you really have, particular questions about what he said. And with that being said, all we're going to say is bye.
Bye.